Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matt, and I'm back with Kerbal Space Program Hard Career Mode. Last episode we sent Janbie on an orbit around the moon, and I said I might want to get her back this episode. But while I did do some contracts, tourists, and rescuing a couple more Kerbals, and getting Valentina back, Janbie is still 4 days out from her maneuver node. That means we won't get her back yet. What we'll do instead is something different. When I recovered Val, I found out that I had done a crew report near the moon and an EVA report above the moon's midlands with her, and so when I got her back, that was 24 science that I hadn't expected. And I had also accepted a contract to bring some crew reports or some science back from the moon, and that was fulfilled with Valentina's capsule as well. So that was another 23,000 funds, 2 science, and so on. Now we have 420,000 funds almost. That's not enough to upgrade the VAB. It is, however, enough to upgrade the runway. And with the science we have, we can research aviation. And I think I'll just purchase all the parts. I don't think I would... No. I'll just pick the ones that I need. The thing is, I have played around with planes off camera a bit, so I think I've got this whole building a plane and flying to places thing figured out, which means we can do some things. One is visual surveys of Kerbin near Hilvy's fault, because that's 3 EVA reports. So we have to get there and get someone to walk around, do EVA reports. And the other thing is temperature scans. Near Pilot's Cavern, Zone 66-3 and Antas Cleft. One of those is below 18,000 meters, which is once again something that's best done with a plane. So we'll do that, I think. And that's the good thing about the upgraded mission control. We still got room for 4 more contracts. A contract I have accepted that I'm not doing yet is returning a vessel to Kerbin from the orbit of the moon. That will be Janbie. And for something that I'm gonna have to do anyways, it's pretty nice payout. But now, planes. So first we need a cockpit. That's pretty easy. That part is easy. Then we need some fuel. Problem is we only have rocket fuel tanks, which contain liquid fuel and oxidizer. We don't need that oxidizer, because engines work, or plane engines work a bit differently from rocket engines. As in, they need jet fuel and air that comes in through intakes. should be around about here. Okay, what else do we need? We need wings. Chunk. We need ailerons. No, that wasn't it. This was it. And we use those only for roll control. What else do we need? We need more wings. Those are installed for pitch control. And oh no, just want one. And this gets yaw control. I could have used the Delta Deluxe winglets for those two, but the tail fins actually have a higher turn rating, which means the same amount of turning the wing will result in a higher or in a stronger effect on the plane. Okay, what else do we need? Of course we need wheels. Just need to figure out where they are. There they are. We take one steerable landing gear up front. It's not front enough. Okay. Yep, centered. And we take fixed landing gears near the rear wings. Now the reason why I am putting those higher than the front gear is so that the plane is pointed a bit upwards on the landing strip, and that means that it's easier to take off. Problem is that makes it harder to land because the plane will try to stay in the air, so there might be some bouncing. But we'll see about that when it gets time for landing, which is still some time away. I set those things. Okay, another important part is center of mass and center of lift. The yellow dot is the center of mass, which means yeah, pretty much what it says. It's where the mass of the craft is centered. The center of lift is the point where all the lift forces accumulate, mostly. You want the center of lift to be a bit behind the center of mass. That means that the plane is a bit keen on going nose down, lawn dart. You don't want to do this, for example. Then you got a craft that will just be lifted in the back and the front falls down, pretty much. On the other hand, you don't want the center of lift ahead of the center of mass, because that would mean that it would just go straight up. And if you have the center of lift right at the center of mass, that means the craft is a bit unstable. So the further back you go with the center of lift, the more stable your craft becomes. The further to the front you go, the more maneuverable it becomes. This distribution should work, I think. Yeah. Oops, that's why. I was wondering why the center of lift was moving forward so much. Okay, that should do it. And we need to still add some things. One of them is an antenna, just for fun. I don't think we're gonna need it yet. We wanted to do temperature readings, possibly. Oh, I forgot something. I realize now that we might have a little problem with the EVA reports, because once a Kerbal is out of the plane, I don't think I can get them back in. Oh well, we'll see. Maybe our pilot will have to do some walking. Okay. Yeah. That should work. I'm calling this thing the... no... box top. Some people might figure out what I'm referencing there. And because I've rescued a lot of pilots, I think I will... Actually, that whole craft flies so well. I've built something like it before. It flies so well it could be flown by a scientist, actually. But I think I'll take one of our pilots. Tria gets to fly it. So, save the craft. And then we launch. Yeah, I was wondering, the plane just did this flipping up thing. The reason for that is when when it was set out on the landing strip, the front wheel was in the ground. So now I know why that happened. Okay, what we are going to do is switch the camera to chase mode, throttle up, take off the brakes, and start the engine. Oh. Okay, 100 meters per second and we are gone. Cool. Okay, with the whole center of mass in front of the center of lift, we will have to trim the plane a bit so we don't fall down. But actually with the current speed, looks pretty good. Now, the EVA reports are supposed to be here. Pretty close together, so that's a distance that could be walked. Okay. Yeah, I figured out this plane can go about Mach 1, so speed of sound. That was the white effects around the wings just now. 300 meters per second. Not bad for first plane. Not bad at all. But I think I want to save some fuel. So we're going at 2/3 of throttle. And this is where the where the sign up here comes in. You can figure out your rate of climbing. If you want a level flight, you want it at 0 pretty much. Yeah, vertical speed. So we are climbing slowly, which is not exactly what I want, but it will have to do. Oh, 2/3 speed is still almost 250 meters per second. Okay. Okay, we need to go pretty much north. I want to go north and then come in from this side. I might cut a part of the video of the flight because yeah, now is pretty much the part where it starts to get boring. I mean, I'm just flying ahead. Oops, that doesn't work. Alpha, beta. Wasn't that 3? Oh well. Ah, not this. Alpha, beta, gamma. Okay. Not so, it was 3. Yeah, and the good thing about plane engines is they use up the fuel from all tanks equally. That's so the center of mass doesn't get shifted. Because if your rear fuel tank was emptied first, then the center of mass would move to the front. And so you'd have to keep trimming to keep your plane flying level. Yeah, it seems our goal is right to the left. So around this hill, mountain, whatever. I think it counts as a mountain. And in there. So I think I'll go to 1/3 speed. That's the problem though, I can't figure out Or in map view you don't see which way your craft is pointing. Should be around here. Now the interesting part is landing this craft, this plane, and maybe, if you're very good, or if I'm very good, I might be able to take off with it again. Okay, it appears we did manage to land, but we didn't go far enough. What in the world was that? Okay, that works. So we're gonna see about taxiing to the to the actual place where we need to do the EVA reports. And hopefully we can do this without breaking the plane. Because, as you all know, good landing is anyone you can walk away from. Great landing is one after which they can use the plane again. So far things are looking good. Aside from the fact that we seem to be accelerating. So I'm supposing it's going downhill a bit. Okay, that was maybe a bit too slow. Okay, time to turn on the brakes and shut down our engine. Let's see how this goes. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay. So at the very least we got out. On the surface. Okay, now we just need to avoid falling off. Now it would be helpful if there was a way to actually tell where a certain marker is. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have to... Ah, there we go. I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure I have to be almost on top of it. So... EVA report. Collecting survey data for Hilby's fault beta. There we are. So that's 4,000 funds. Time to board the plane again. And time to go north. Which is pretty much not the direction I'm pointing, but that's alright. We got plenty of fuel left. Time to roll north. Rollin', rollin', rollin'. Now I'm wondering how fast 20 meters per second actually is. Oh, 26 kilometers per hour. 72 kilometers per hour. Okay. This way. That's actually not that slow. We are at Alpha. Okay. Now EVA. Oops. Okay. And another 5,000 funds. Getting back on board. Yeah. Might need to activate the engine again. Again, due north. Might have to invert the steering on that front wheel. Okay, and we are at Gamma. And we've got the visual surveys near Hilvy's fault completed. Hooray! We know so much more about Kerbin. We are forwarding funds now. Great. And survey data from Hilvy's fault. Okay. Time to get back aboard and see if maybe we can get home. And this is going to be interesting. Yeah, I need to unlock the parking brake. And we're back in the air. Okay, that went a lot better than I was expecting. Really. A lot. I mean, sure, that whole having enough fuel thing is one thing, but landing in the middle of nowhere and being able to take back off, that's cool. The problem is that the temperature contracts are right on the other side of Kerbin. Now I'm not sure. Well, there's just one way to figure out if the plane can do this. If I have that range. And that'll be something I'm definitely going to cut, because that's going to be, I don't know, an hour of flight, maybe 2, and there's not much going to be going on. So yeah. Actually, I think I still want to go east. Okay, a bit south as well, but not too much. Yeah, the problem with using the tail fins as pitch rudders is not pitch rudders. I forget what it's actually called. Is that they are very strong. Pretty much what's good about them is also what's bad about them. So yeah, because when you turn around the plane, you end up losing a lot of speed. Okay, we're climbing and accelerating. That's always fun. Where did we have to do it? Above, below. That's zone 66.3. Okay, I thought as much. Yeah, I think this is about the part where I'm going to cut off, and I'll be back when I'm there, which, as I said, might or when the fuel runs out, whichever happens first. I'm thinking this might be just a one-way flight. What with the taxiing underground before. Actually, no. No, I think I'll take this plane back home. And the temperature measurement is something I'm doing either in another episode or off camera. So let's burn some fuel. Because for the temperature thing, I think I want a fully fueled plane. And another thing is, maybe we can even do what's it called? I'm going to remember it at one point. A circumnavigation of Kerbin. That would be fun. I'll just lock this temperature here. Oops. No, we already got grasslands. This is in flight, right? Yeah, we can reset this. Yeah, the supersonic effects are starting up again. Actually, we're not even at the speed of sound yet. Now we are. But yeah, that's the problem with air-breathing engines, as in jet engines, is that you can't go too high with them. I mean, I could probably hit, I don't know what's around here, 8,000 meters, but then the intakes wouldn't get any more air. Something that's already happening. I mean, we are at 5,000 meters and the intake, air intake, is falling, actually. Of course, that might be because our speed is falling, but... Oops, this was not what I wanted. Actually, I think I'll try coming in from the sea. Yeah, the thing to the bottom right, or in the bottom right, is the KSC. Problem is you have to come in from due east or due west for the runway. Runway, that was the word. Kept saying landing strip because I forgot the actual word. And when you're coming in from the west, yes, when you're coming in from the west and overshoot the runway, you end up pretty much hitting the water. Well, maybe not exactly hitting it, but you know, rolling into it. Of course, when you're coming from the east, as we are now, and undershoot the runway, you also drop into the water, something that won't happen to you coming from the west. But all in all, overshooting is more likely. I should know, I did it before. Okay, we need to turn a bit faster. Okay. Time to cut the engines. Actually, maybe that was cutting them a bit too much. Because we're still some ways out. Don't know if it's 5 miles, but... okay. Now that should do it. Don't think we need any more speed. Probably gonna need a lot less. Where are we? Okay. Okay. At this rate we're gonna run out of runway before we run out of speed. Okay, yeah, that's why it's good that I've come in from the sea. Because we just didn't slow down quickly enough. Okay. This counts as a landing. Great one too. Because they could use that plane again. And we've earned 3 science from... I could have done the mystery goo observation and the temperature scan on the runway. Oh well. We got 14,000 funds back. That's almost the whole coast of the plane. Which is pretty awesome. But that's the good thing about planes, and why space planes are, or yeah, where space planes, shuttles and such are something that people want, because you get many parts back. You can reuse them. So here we go. And of course Tria is back. And we're at 300 reputation. Should really upgrade the admin building at some point. Or that bailout grant. Actually it would only be 26,000. But the unpaid research program could work. And actually the fundraising campaign could be improved. Anyway. Yeah. as I said, I think I'll do the temperature scans in the next episode. Get ready for a lot of cutting in that episode, because yeah, that's a flight that'll take a while, which means I will have to cut out most of it. I think I'm going to do the tourist contracts off camera again. An orbit, another orbit, 2 more orbits, that's 2 more flights, for a net gain of somewhere in the vicinity of 30,000, I think, all in all. Yeah, we got this. And maybe that will also mean that we are going to have passed another day with the tourist contract, so getting Janbie back might get even closer. Either way, until next episode, thank you everyone, and good night.